Your dog yawned at you this morning, and you probably thought they were tired. They weren't. That yawn was a message, one you've been ignoring for years. And what it actually means is going to completely change how you see every interaction you have with them. Most people think yawning is about sleep. In humans, sure. In dogs, it's an entirely different system, and missing it means you're walking past one of the clearest signals your dog has in their entire communication toolkit. Let me tell you what's really happening when your dog yawns in your presence, because this goes deeper than you think. Dogs have what researchers call calming signals. These are deliberate nonverbal gestures used to de-escalate tension, communicate discomfort, and manage their own emotional state. Norwegian canine behaviorist Turid Rugaas identified over 30 of these signals after studying thousands of dog interactions. And the yawn sits right at the top of that list. When your dog yawns while looking at you, they are not expressing boredom or fatigue. They are telling you something about the emotional temperature of the moment you're both in, and they're doing it in the only language they have. Here's what makes this so easy to misread. A tired yawn and a stressed yawn look nearly identical to the untrained eye. Same open mouth, same duration, same sound. But watch closely and you'll see the difference. A fatigue yawn is soft, usually accompanied by a comfortable body posture, half-closed eyes, maybe a stretch. A stress yawn is sharper. The eyes stay open. The ears might pull back slightly. The body holds tension you can see if you're actually looking. And the contexts are completely different. Your dog yawns when you raise your voice, when a stranger approaches too quickly, when you're staring directly at them for too long, when the environment gets chaotic and they have no way to escape it. That's not exhaustion. That's your dog trying to regulate an internal state that's tipping toward overload. Research published in the journal Behavioral Processes found that dogs yawn significantly more often in stressful situations compared to neutral ones, and the yawning increased in direct proportion to the intensity of the stressor. The function is dual. It's a signal outward to others, and it's a self-soothing mechanism inward for the dog themselves. Think of it like this. You know that deep breath you take before walking into a difficult conversation? The one that's half physiological reset, half mental preparation? Your dog's stress yawn is the same thing. They're trying to bring their nervous system back down, and they're simultaneously broadcasting to everyone around them that the current situation feels too intense. Now here's where most owners completely miss it. Your dog yawns during training sessions, and you think they're being defiant or uninterested. They're not. They're overwhelmed. The pace is too fast, the corrections are too sharp, or the environment has too many distractions. That yawn is them saying, I need a second. This is too much right now. You lean down to hug them and they yawn in your face. You think it's rude. It's not. Most dogs don't enjoy being hugged. It restricts their movement. It puts pressure on their body in ways that feel confining. And when you lean over them, you're towering in a way that their instincts read as dominance or threat. The yawn is their polite version of, I love you, but this is uncomfortable. Can we do something else? Children run up to your dog, loud and fast, and your dog yawns before the kids even touch them. That's a warning you should be listening to. Not a warning that your dog will bite necessarily, but a clear communication that your dog is already stressed and needs space. Ignoring that yawn and letting the interaction continue is how bite incidents happen that everyone calls unprovoked. They weren't unprovoked. Your dog told you. You just didn't speak the language. But it's not all stress. There's another layer here that almost nobody talks about. Dogs also yawn in moments of conflicted emotion, when they want something but they're uncertain, when they're excited but also nervous, when two competing drives are pulling them in opposite directions and their brain is trying to resolve it. You call your dog to come inside, but they're in the middle of sniffing something fascinating in the yard. They look at you, yawn, then slowly start walking toward you. That yawn was the internal negotiation, the mental gear shift between what they wanted to do and what you're asking them to do. Some dogs yawn excessively around certain people and not others. Pay attention to that. If your dog yawns repeatedly around a specific family member, a visitor, or a trainer, that person is doing something your dog finds stressful. Maybe it's their energy, their volume, the way they move, or the way they make eye contact. Your dog can't tell you in words, so they're telling you in yawns. And then there's contagious yawning, which is where this gets truly fascinating. Humans yawn contagiously. You see someone yawn, you yawn. It's tied to empathy, to social bonding, to the parts of our brain that connect us to other people. For a long time, scientists thought this was uniquely human, maybe shared with a few great apes. Then they tested it in dogs. A study from the University of Tokyo found that dogs yawn contagiously in response to their owner's yawns significantly more than they do to a stranger's yawns. They're not just mimicking a physical action. They're responding to you specifically, to the human they're bonded with, in a way that suggests emotional attunement. Your yawn triggers something in them that connects your state to theirs. That's not a party trick. That's evidence of a relationship operating at a neurological level most people never consider. So what does all this mean for you right now, today? It means you need to start watching for the yawn, not dismissing it, not laughing at it, actually seeing it for what it is, a communication, a request, a glimpse into what your dog is experiencing internally that they have no other way to show you. When your dog yawns during a training session, slow down. Take a break. Let them decompress. When they yawn as someone approaches, create distance. Give them the space their body is asking for. When they yawn while you're petting them, stop. Let them move away if they want to. Respect the boundary they're trying to set. But the yawn is just the beginning. Because if you're missing that signal, you're absolutely missing the others, and some of them are even more critical than this one. 3. Why does your dog kick their back legs after they poop? You've seen it 100 times. Your dog finishes their business, and then suddenly they're scraping the ground like they're trying to dig to the other side of the planet. Most people think it's about covering up what they just left behind. It's not. That kicking motion isn't burying anything, it's broadcasting. Dogs have scent glands in their paw pads. Every time those back legs rake across the ground, they're depositing a chemical signature that's unique to them, layering it directly onto the area surrounding their waist. The combination creates what behaviorists call a scent sandwich. The waste itself, plus the paw gland secretions, plus the visual disturbance of torn up grass or dirt. It's a territorial marker designed to be detected from a distance by any other dog that passes through. And here's the part that surprises people. This behavior is most common in confident dogs. Submissive or anxious dogs often skip it entirely. The ground kicking is a declaration. It's your dog saying, I was here, and I'm not worried about who knows it. Watch what happens when your dog does this at the park versus in your backyard. The intensity changes. More dogs around, more kicking. Familiar, safe territory, less kicking. They're calibrating the message based on the audience. If your dog has suddenly started kicking more aggressively or in new locations, something in their environment has shifted. A new dog moved in next door. A stray has been passing through your yard. Your dog is responding to a presence you may not have consciously noticed yet, but they've already mapped it, analyzed it, and decided it requires a stronger response. 4. Why does your dog tilt their head when you talk to them? This one melts people every single time, and there's a reason it feels so deeply connective. That head tilt happens when your dog is trying to process something you're communicating that they almost understand, but not quite. You're using words they recognize, maybe their name, maybe walk or treat, but the rest of the sentence is still noise. The tilt is a physical adjustment to maximize auditory input. By changing the angle of their head, they're repositioning their ears to capture your voice more clearly, filtering out background noise and zeroing in on the specific sounds that might carry meaning. But there's a secondary layer. A study from the Family Dog Project in Hungary found that dogs tilt their heads significantly more often when their owners use exaggerated intonation, the kind of voice you use when you're talking to a baby or asking a question. That shift in pitch signals to your dog that this communication is directed at them and it's important. The tilt is them leaning into that signal, trying to decode what you want. Some dogs tilt more than others. Border collies, retrievers, and other working breeds that have been selectively bred for responsiveness to human communication tilt far more frequently than independent breeds like huskies or basenjis. It's not intelligence, it's attentiveness, and attentiveness is partly genetic. If your dog tilts their head constantly, you have a dog that is deeply focused on understanding you. That's a bond you can build on. Use it. Pair the tilt with consistent words, clear gestures, and watch how fast they start connecting the dots. 5. Why does your dog refuse to walk past a certain spot? You're on your usual route, and suddenly your dog plants their feet and will not move forward. No amount of coaxing, pulling, or treat waving changes their mind. There's something about that exact location that has triggered a full stop. Start with the assumption that your dog is detecting something you're not. Their hearing range extends to 65,000 hertz. Yours caps out around 20,000. A high-pitched mechanical hum, an underground electrical issue, a pest infestation inside a nearby wall. Any of these could be creating a sound that to your dog feels like standing next to a fire alarm. Their nose is picking up chemical information you'll never access. A patch of ground where another dog was attacked last week still carries the scent of adrenaline and blood. A lawn treated with a pesticide that smells fine to you might register as a threat to a dog whose ancestors survived by avoiding toxic plants. But sometimes it's even simpler than that. Your dog slipped on that patch of pavement once when it was wet. They got startled by a car backfiring near that corner. A stranger yelled at them from that yard. The memory attached to that location didn't fade just because you forgot about it. To your dog, that spot is still coded as danger, and no rational explanation you could offer would override what their direct experience taught them. Forcing them past it doesn't desensitize them. It erodes their trust in you. They're saying this place is not safe, and you're saying your feelings don't matter. Move anyway. Try a different route. If that's not possible, give them distance. Cross the street, walk on the other side. Let them approach it on their own terms over days or weeks, with high-value rewards and zero pressure. Most of the time, the fear fades when they realize the threat isn't repeating. But that only happens if you let them set the pace. Your dog has been speaking to you in a language you were never taught to hear. The yawns, the kicks, the tilts, the refusals, every single one of them is a sentence. And now you know how to translate. If this shifted the way you see your dog, send it to someone whose dog deserves to be understood. Subscribe to Yawn, because every video we make is built to close the gap between what your dog is saying and what you're finally able to hear. Your dog isn't broken when they yawn at you during a hug. They're not being stubborn when they refuse to walk past that one house. They're not bored when they tilt their head while you're speaking. They're fluent in a language you've been ignoring. And every single one of those moments is them trying to close the distance between their world and yours. The difference between a dog owner and someone who actually understands their dog isn't love. It's attention. It's the willingness to stop assuming and start listening. To see a yawn and ask what it means instead of what you think it means. To watch the head tilt and realize your dog is working harder to understand you than you've ever worked to understand them. You've spent years living with a translator you didn't know you had. Every behavior, every gesture, every repeated action you've written off as quirky or random has been a deliberate message sent in the only language your dog has access to. Now you can read it. And the moment you start responding to what they're actually saying instead of what you assumed they meant, everything changes. The bond you thought you had becomes the bond you were always supposed to have.